Hey, how's it going, guys? Mr. Boss for the win here. Hopefully you're having an awesome Friday, gearing up for the weekend. In today's video, we're going to be hearing from Rockstar Games insider Tez Funds 2 on a couple of things regarding the next update, some interesting changes that Rockstar are making behind the scenes and what that could mean, and a whole lot more. So let's begin with his response to something that another admin on the GTA forum site, Spidervice, ended up saying the other day regarding how Rockstar is adjusting to working at home. Yeah, and in all seriousness now, it's not as easy as most of this forum thinks to just create content or patches from home. There's a lot of reserved systems that developers need to access exclusively from remote connections to virtual machines to avoid data leakage or connecting to work VPNs directly for sensitive info, especially when we're talking about Rockstar. You can code from home, but you can be sure as hell none of these files can be saved on your PC, so they probably need to do it on remote PCs that are much harder to work with from home. Same goes for 3D artists trying to make 3D assets from home. Imagine doing that via remote desktop or a virtual machine that directly depends on your network speed. Work VPN allows you to access email and documentation wikis and such, but no AAA game development company is going to let you have confidential files on your personal computers. So they need to give their developers pretty convoluted solutions like connecting to remote development virtual machines and such. It's not the same thing as being physically at the studio, connected to the worldwide All Studios network to freely share assets and code and submit stuff. Game development is much more like a regular job with restrictions, meetings, tight deadlines, and requirements than a lot of people think. Therefore, it's unlikely we'll be seeing anything too relevant in the next few months. This goes for all AAA studios. But if some studios already had their projects near completion, that makes it easier to complete and release. Speaking of testing, that would be another huge post to talk about. It's not for no reason Microsoft had to make available specific xCloud instances for Xbox developers to work with at home. Now, in response to that, he said, speaking of the last part, the recent updates to the external builds branch could relate to something similar. A new initiative by an external partner to smooth out the workflow and lessen pressure done by the pandemic. Or it's just something entirely different. And this is where I feel like there's just so many unknowns. Because Rockstar doesn't like to keep their community updated, we don't know how they're really impacted right now. We don't know if the next update is 90% done, if it's 50% done, if they've had to scrap it altogether. And so maybe this is them trying to alleviate some of the stresses of working from home or developing remotely, as we've talked about. So again, I've said this in my last couple of videos, but I do mean it seriously that you kind of have to give Rockstar the benefit of the doubt just because you simply don't know what's going on and what they're dealing with. Everyone is affected by this differently, but it looks like at a minimum, if this is true, they are trying their best to make it easier to work during these strange and weird times. That's for sure. Anyways, moving on, if you guys watched my video the other day, I told you how the QA Beta 2 branch for Grand Theft Auto 5 was starting to get updated again. Well, it looks like it actually received another new update, or I should say a series of new updates really over the last 24 hours. And so naturally, this has gotten a lot of people excited because given QA Beta 2's history and what we talked about previously, it usually means that something interesting is around the corner. This is Rockstar testing content before it actually arrives for us so that there's fewer bugs, glitches, etc. And so someone ended up bringing that up. They said in other news, QA Beta 2 got updated again, so more testing has been done for the DLC. Let's hope soon it'll turn into QA Beta so we know that it's near. And Tez Funds 2 said the rollback matches the build ID of QA Beta 3. Not sure if this is something to look into. It doesn't exactly mean the new DLC is undergoing testing phase. It's generally a process for separating builds, which could mean a lot of things, either to deploy a new patch, like sort of a PC patch, or an alternative to the build process. Compiling a daily build at night since it could have been affected by the pandemic, assuming it's still an issue. Coincidentally, QA Beta was updated a few minutes ago at the time of making this post. It's surely interesting, but it still won't get my hopes high. For all I know, it could be an entirely different approach to testing, a special case in times of what's going on. One thing to point out is the timing at which it was compiled, taking over the usual QA Beta 3 update. I guess this is the new nightly build from now on. Okay, so I apologize if this is getting confusing. I know it's kind of difficult to follow. Essentially, Rockstar has like the 3 QA Beta branches, QA Beta 3, 2, and 1. And so what TezFunds 2 is saying here is that Rockstar might have made a switch, where now QA Beta 3 has been built into QA Beta 2 or possibly even QA Beta 1. And this could also be for something very simple like a new PC patch. I know fans of Red Dead Redemption 2 and Red Dead Online are not exactly thrilled with the random PC patches that they've been having to get over the last couple of months. Not only is it a huge tease from Rockstar, you're like, oh, are you kidding me? I have to download this new update, but it isn't really anything tangible for me. So hopefully that doesn't happen, because if it does happen, obviously players are going to be upset. But I also think it's going to have an impact, obviously, on PC players. Their mods will probably break. Who knows what other issues this might cause. So that's something we will keep updated. Now, the next thing that TezFunds 2 talks about was a response from someone who ended up saying, I am very curious about something. From leaks over the years, we know that Rockstar employees develop many cars for Grand Theft Auto Online that don't always fit the theme of a DLC. A lot of those cars are not released either. They usually use them to drip feed during an upcoming update. How come they haven't released an update with a bunch of cars that they had already done? Or drip feed a car every week to get people to buy shark cards? If they have a bunch of GTA Online cars ready, why not release them? Seems like this would be the perfect time. And he said, from a marketing perspective, releasing content separately would result in bad impressions of the main update, lowering interest rate, and ends up looking like an incomplete update. Also, drip feed content mostly depends on aspects that are introduced with a new update. Integrating the content in a DLC may maximize its potential. Plus, the developers can't just come up with new content out of thin air to fill in the missing spots of content that were released separately. I believe all this contributes to Rockstar opting for compiling all their resources in one update. And we're certainly in an interesting time, because I feel like this would be the perfect time for Rockstar to just release an update that just consists of a bunch of cars that they never added into the game from previous updates. Wouldn't you feel like that would be the perfect way to tide us over? If Rockstar just released 10 or 12 new cars, 2 per week, how fun would that be? Being able to get 2 new cars per week, and obviously new content would be new content. Who knows what else Rockstar could do? But I guess in a way, TezFunds 2 is right. That does sound a little bit sloppier. And I feel like Rockstar is too much of a perfectionist, where they kind of want to save it for just one update altogether, instead of trying to come up with a band-aid of an update. Although I feel like that would make a lot of people happy right now compared to the event weeks that we're ultimately getting. And the last thing we'll be discussing in this video today is just something funny that TezFunds 2 said the other day on the GTA forum site. He said, imagine we get new RON missions and it sets a new record for most annoying missions. Delivering packages from Paleto Bay to the city while being chased by NPCs in an Oppressor Mark II. Now, in case you guys are wondering what he's talking about with those RON missions, there is a little bit of coding left over in the game that suggests Rockstar will eventually in the future add RON missions into the game. Kind of like how we have the Simeon Repo missions, the Martin Madrazo dispatch missions, etc. It looks like Ron is going to be getting his own type of missions. So we don't know if that'll happen in the next update or sometime down the line, but whatever the case is, that's what he's referring to. And yeah, I think that might break the record as the most annoying update of all time. In fact, I don't think Rockstar has missions where NPCs are on Oppressor Mark IIs. That would be the most devastating thing ever. But honestly, it wouldn't be surprising if that's something they tried to do. But anyways, that is all the information that I have got for you guys in this video today. Hopefully you did enjoy. Again, I'd love to hear from you guys in the comments down below. Let me know what you think about everything we discussed in this video today and more. If you guys did go on to enjoy this video, though, a like rating would of course be awesome. And be sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel if you are new, or you want to stay up to date on all the latest GTA and Red Dead Redemption videos that I'm doing here on my channel. And be sure to ring that notification bell as well. Sometimes YouTube just doesn't work, and if you ring that bell, you'll always be guaranteed to be notified when new videos arrive. But of course, as always, guys, thank you all so much for watching. Take care, and I'll see you guys in the next video.